welcome to another garden vlog, and we're starting kind of late in the day, so we may just tag it with the date of tomorrow. But we did filming already this morning, and that's uploading, probably will be uploaded before this vlog is posted, I'm sure. So that cardboard and wood fire that we were burning like 4 days ago, it definitely burned for an extra day and a half longer than we expected. But that's okay. We're gonna go collect some of the ash now and put a nice little bucket full of ash all around that banana circle pit. Well, we got a bucket here, ash and partially burned, charred things here, about a half a bucket. And the potassium in this guy will help feed that banana plant. I think maybe tomorrow morning we're going to do a wheat bran, a bigger pile here, nutrient drench, and maybe a little bit of Epsom salt as well for more magnesium. It's another morning, and we got to give the dryer lint to the birds, right? We look, and see if any new jackfruit pop up or any of these GHB avocados come up. So far, I think there's only two, that one there and this one here, and still only 12 jackfruit. That might be all the seeds we put in there, I'm not sure. This beautiful flower out, and this is the second one that opened. We were doing a garden vlog maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and one of them wasn't quite open in the morning, but by the evening I think it had already looked bad. So I think this is a swamp rose mallow or something like that. They have the kind of the Mary Jane-esque leaves. Kind of even looks like Mary Jane buds there. And this milkweed here is sort of in full bloom. There's a few not open yet. I'll show you guys something here. Let me zoom in. See if this guy will. Look at there. Do you know what that is? That's one of the mulberries that has drooped, lost all of its leaves, and it's shooting out a new bud. That's probably a pretty good sign with some of these mulberries that we put in here. And yeah, we don't finesse the roots out. Maybe if it was something more expensive, more rare, we would have took our time, but we sort of yanked them out. That probably puts them into a major transplant shock. But, hopefully, you can see some of the tips and all do die, and this is probably why some people recommend, clipping the tips when you get them out of the ground, so that they have the root energy to put into a shorter piece of growth, I guess you would say. But I think most of these guys probably will recover. My tallest Mexican tithonia, and it's probably hard to even see because it's not fully daylight out yet. It's got a flower opened up about 16 foot in the air. Can't see what the top looks like, but I would imagine it looks like this, but just a little better, possibly a little bit bigger. This is that kind of ruffled one from the one we stuck back in the ground to try to reroot, and there's another little one opening up there. But we should have some soon from another planting that's a little lower to the ground, so we can maybe in the next few videos see what they look like when they're healthy. I think on yesterday's garden vlog video, we talked about how sometimes an early indicator of a graft failure is buds coming out right below the graft. And this is a pawpaw that was a Pennsylvania golden that we broke by accident, and it wasn't from dormant wood. And this isn't new spring growth we're putting on it, so we tried, and that's an indicator that most likely this graft has failed. As you can see, even the grafting tape loosened up, and that's likely due to drying out is causing the sticks to shrink, at least the scionwood piece. So it shrunk, and it's no longer wrapped as tight, so the grafting tape lets go. We'll keep it on there just to see a little bit longer, see if it calluses. Our experience has just been that's a bad sign. Either it didn't push out like that loquat did yesterday in yesterday's garden vlog video, and sometimes they push out when they shrink and dry up, and sometimes they just push buds out. Sometimes they do both. Other times the scion wood like this one kind of shrivels or wrinkles just a bit, so that's also another sign, I guess, of it drying up and potentially failing. And this is another Pennsylvania golden. You can see some of the cassavas that we've already have rooted in pots are already getting some of them yellow leaves and all from the cooler weather. We hit like 48 the other day, and some of them still have some pretty green leaves and other ones have some yellow leaves. Now, most people just give cuttings of those away. You know, they'll overwinter them for the winter or whatever. They'll cut back their stalk, you know, before a freeze. Store it somewhere, you know. And one of the local permaculture people said she was storing it, I think, either in a bucket outside or in water, and she said she got like a high percentage of rot or death, you know, doing that. So she said, you know, afterwards she's going to start storing them in sand or something, and you know, they'll probably root themselves like that, but it's going to give her an opportunity to hopefully give more back to the community. Now, for now, you know, I think I'm going to cut any back before I send them to the local community. They're just too big, you know, too tall to like carry in our little minivan and stuff. So we'll keep the canes if they're hardened off, you know, enough, and root them or give those canes away, you know, to people. You know, fresh canes here, just put them wherever. This is, you know, we've had these cassavas maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. This is either the second or third time we've tried them. I think the first time we tried them, they came back the following year. Then they just all died, you know. And we have milder winters now. You know, and we'll try to plant them, you know, in enough, what would you call, plant enough out that hopefully some survive, but maybe also keep a few in pots, the canes and stuff, so that we can replenish our stock when these freezes occur, if they do not come back. Now, if we were eating them, I think they're supposed to be ideal at about 1.5 years old. By 2 years old, I think they're supposed to be too tough to eat the tubers. Last year when we tried to harvest cassava, they just were too small. So they were probably 1 year, and so we haven't tried to eat it. You know, we've eaten it from the grocery store, cassava, you know, the frozen ones, and just we haven't been able to harvest a big enough tuber or tubers to put on our plate. But maybe one day. And obviously, if they keep coming back and be a 2 or 3 or 4 year old tuber, that's going to be mostly just as parent stock to create more plants. Before we talk about possibly planting some stuff in the ground, or one thing, or whatever, maybe separating this Galangal ginger and seeing what it looks like, because I could not pull the pot from the ground. Have to get a shovel under there. There is a plant that I know that at least one local person grows, possibly two, or I should say nurseries, licensed nurseries grow. One of them does not really sell this plant. I think he's just mainly experimenting with it. And it sometimes, I think, has some pretty major dieback in the winter, so they may not even be as hardy as like the red hybrid jaboticabas or something. This is called white sapote, you know, and they have big old seeds. Apparently the seeds are super toxic and like can kill you, but they're big and they look like they're sharp. And I guess a human most likely would not eat these seeds, but, you know, a dog or something, people are, you know, worried. You know, I think there's a thread on Reddit, you know, that, you know, if a dog ingests this, he's going to die or whatever. But that's beside the point. So I've asked this local guy a couple times, does he have anything? He says, well, I have 2 grafted plants, but I don't have any plants for sale. I don't have any fruit seeds. you know, he says the fruit is really good, kind of like a custardy taste. And you know, sometimes what's weird about this guy is he had I think Sabar Jabuticabas a couple years ago, and I tried to buy some from him. He said, you know, you're north of me, you're too cold, I'm not going to sell them to you because they're going to die. So it's kind of a strange person. Now, I've bought several plants from him. I've gotten cuttings from him. I've gave him plants, and I ended up just buying some Jabuticaba seeds online, super expensive, from Etsy, and that's how we ended up with our Sabar and our red hybrid Jabuticaba 1 year seedlings. So it was about a year ago or so, and you know, the Sabars are still only like that. Some of the red hybrids are like 3, 4, 5 times the size as far as vertical and horizontal, or whatever, height and width. But yeah, I mean, there is someone, I think, in Alachua City, you know, that's quite a ways from here, that advertises, I think, white sapote seedlings. And I do not like traveling far to get stuff, especially having the family here in the wheelchair bound. Natalie, she loves traveling, but gas money and everything is just so tight. Time is, you know, we've went to a few of these nurseries and stuff in Alachua, and it's just, I don't know, a lot of these nurseries are super expensive, even before, you know, the COVID and post-COVID pricing. And I just went back to Etsy and I bought a handful of white sapote seeds. You know, normally I would just say mystery. This is something that's like this and that. And I'd wait till these plants or seeds or whatever would come in, and I would reveal it, you know. But I'm just going to say it. They're white sapote seeds, and these guys are actually closely related to citrus. You know, I don't know how big the fruit is. I think they're different cultivars. Some of them, I think, the SCS2 has a pretty small fruit, and some of the other ones may have bigger ones, but they have big old seeds in them, and they have sort of a custardy taste, from what I'm told. I've read that you take the hull off to get a better propagation germination rate, but that can also cause bacteria and stuff to invade, I guess, the embryo and kill it off. So you use like a sterile medium, maybe like 100% peat or cocoa coir or something. Maybe even microwave it before, you know, you put it in there. Make sure it's moist and sponging up some of that water, because, you know, dry peat doesn't always easily and fast take to getting moisture in it. You know, a lot of times you'll see instructions saying put your peat, you know, block or whatever in the water, let it soak for a while, stir it up, and then it will eventually sponge up that moisture in it. I think it's time, and I hope to God that the sweet scarlet Goumi plant has enough roots in there so that we don't kill it when we take it out. You know, we gave it a little bit of time, and he wasn't even sure if it was rooted yet when he sold it to us. And I don't know how fast, you know, these guys spread their roots in the soil. But I'm going to put this in a raised bed, because I've put these in the ground before in 2 or 3 places and they died. I don't know why. Let's give it its best chance and put it in. Can we find a spot in raised bed number 1 with all the other stuff that's already there? So we finally put a shovel underneath that Galangal ginger, and luckily it was just roots holding it. But you can see this pot is really getting expanded from the, you know, the tubers or the ginger pieces there. we definitely have to take it apart and look at it and see if we can separate some of them, keep one or two for ourselves, and see what it looks like, you know, to give to the garden community. There are about 3 right there. We're going to put in, I don't know, 1 gallon, 3 gallon, I'm not sure, pots for the community. And we got a big chunk here. We could probably make 2 or 3 or more, but we even have more sprouts coming up as well. We'll just put that in like a 3-gallon pot or something for ourselves. I've kind of just pulled some stuff out with a rake here on raised bed number 2. I think we need to put some potting soil down there. We're going to see if that Galangal ginger will grow there. We really don't want to put it in a place where we're going to have to dig the tubers. That's going to cause a problem with another plant or tree. And you know, it may be fine on raised bed 1 at the end here, but let's put something here and see how it goes. If it doesn't survive for whatever reason, we might put one here later. So we put more soil at the bottom, soil on the top, and hopefully it won't erode, but we may have to add some soil later. And there it is. Had to cut some of it off here, so maybe that'll make another plant. You could probably segment that in at least 2 or 3 plants, but there's 2 root systems, it looks like, separate. We're just going to make 1 out of that. All right, so there's the ones that are potted up, 4 of them. We got 1 in the ground, and we got this big chunk to put somewhere else. I decided to just put it in a container, leave just a little nub at the top so that I can identify it. And for now, we're going to put it with these other guys. That gives me 3 or 4 or 5 to get rid of, you know, to give to the community. And we're just going to wait till those roots get where they hold on to the soil better and the plant just doesn't flop down like they're doing now. We could have just, you know, clipped the tops because it's so close to fall. But we're going to wait and see what happens here. And hopefully soon they'll be able to stand upright. If not, we'll just clip the tops. We're going to do another wheat bran drenching on this banana circle here. This is maybe 3/4 to 1 gallon of it. Put some around the base of the banana, but most of it's going to go in that circle there. And we may do an Epsom salt magnesium nutrient drench as well, but we're not going to put it where the ash, the big clump of soil and ash and everything is in the middle. We're going to go around the perimeter because we really don't want to burn the earthworms and stuff with it. And we may sprinkle just a little bit around the base of the tree as well. Now let's hope and pray this Goumi has roots. I'm seeing roots here, and I'm seeing earthworms, which are a good sign. But this soil is very soft and crumbly, so I got to be careful not to just destroy this guy. I want to try not to take off much soil at all and just get a hole that this fits in, hopefully. Here's a perfect example of us not getting big enough sweet potato tubers here. You know, just got to keep trying and try to figure out what's best, though. I see some down there as well. They're just not big enough to even warrant eating, you know. Or do we wait for a freeze? But look at all this soil in this raised bed here. We've already sort of created a lot of Florida betony. And we turn the soil a little bit more, and you can see this breakdown of carbon, you know, these tree trunks and stuff here. There it is, kind of propped the way we want it, and now we need to fill in with dirt. Water it well, pack it, maybe fill it in with some more dirt. Well, you know what time it is, it's magic soil. Put some water on it, let's pack it in lightly. And I think we're gonna put some rainwater with duckweed on it. All right, get that duckweed and all that rainwater and nutrients. Let's put some of these 1-year wood chips on the top too. There we go. Maybe we should start selling, you know, a magic soil and aged wood chip blend, you know, start aging our own wood chips. Now, I would normally put compost in there as well, but we have both, 2 of the 3 potting soils we put in there were full of earthworms. You know, we got our magic soil, and we have the aged wood chips for the mycorrhizal activities, so it should be set for now. But we got some Epsom salt for this banana circle. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit, not touching the base, hopefully. And then we're gonna go, like I said, around the perimeter, but not in that middle section where all the earthworms are. All right. The next step for this banana circle is going to be to pile it up with, leaves and just try to densify it, push them down to all the holes and crevices. We may not have time on this video for that. My phone is dead, so we may end this video here. We'll see. If so, take care, guys.